Batman Beyond is a TV show that was released in 1999 and it ended in 2001. Batman Beyond is a continuation of Batman the Animated Series, and the setting of this show is 2040. Bruce Wayne is no longer Batman, Gotham City is the worst it's ever been, and we focus on a new character called Terry McGinnis. Terry McGinnis is a high school student who crossed paths with Bruce Wayne, and he eventually becomes the new Batman. Along the way, he makes new friends, enemies, and he pretty much shows Gotham why Batman is still needed. So, a couple of weeks ago, I reviewed Batman the Animated Series, and I loved it so much. So, naturally, I was very excited to see the continuation of that show, and I was really eager to watch the show from beginning to end. Because as a child, I watched a select few episodes, but I have little to no memory of watching them at that age. And besides, watching those shows as a kid and as an adult will surely make for a different experience. And that was definitely the case as an adult because watching the show from beginning to end, I was very satisfied. Batman Beyond is a fantastic show that is relentlessly entertaining, action packed, and intriguing throughout. When it comes to our character, Terry McGinnis, I really sympathize with him because, similar to Bruce Wayne, he has a tragic event happen to him and he's fueled with a lot of anger and remorse. But seeing his character growth from beginning to end, basically the entire series, it was really fascinating to see. I loved where they took his character arcs and just seeing him as a character. And what was interesting was seeing how different he was from Bruce Wayne, because despite the fact that there are some similarities, their personalities are very different. Terry McGinnis is this smartass. He is very confident. He's very social. Terry McGinnis is pretty much the opposite of Bruce Wayne in many ways, and he is brutal. I mean, he kicks the shit out of criminals. I'm pretty sure there are some instances where some people were killed, but in any case, he's awesome. I love him as a character. Bruce Wayne, as I mentioned, is also in the show. Now, Bruce Wayne is also voiced by Kevin Conroy, who did the voice acting for his character in the original animated show. And I'm so glad he was back because I praised his performance in my other review. And here, he's just as great. He plays a very different character, though. I mean, despite the fact that he's Bruce Wayne, he's obviously much older. He's a mentor to Batman Beyond. So what he does is he gives Batman an advanced suit. There's a camera and some sort of device where Bruce Wayne communicates with him. And they form this relationship. It's like a father-son relationship that was really sweet to see. I would say that's pretty much the heart of the show is just watching those two interact. And it's funny, too, because Terry McGinnis is a high school student, so there are times where he talks to Bruce Wayne about his high school problems, and Bruce Wayne, it's not that he doesn't care, but he wants Terry to stay focused. And just watching those little interactions like that, it really makes the show sweet in that way. And also, Terry McGinnis has a younger brother. Watching how they interact, it was really family friendly. It's sweet, and I really love the show for that reason too. I mean, like I said, it has a lot of heart. Now, I mentioned in my Batman animated series review that there was not a single episode that I disliked. I either liked or loved every episode. And I'm so happy to report that that's the same case for Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond is 3 seasons, and I think it's a total of 52 episodes. So it's way shorter than Batman the Animated Series, but still, it's very consistent throughout. I was very entertained. The show is rated TV-Y7, but it's actually really dark. For instance, there's a lot of conversations of drugs, there's a lot of conversations of gangs, and there's a lot of violence, but it never feels inappropriate for children. Similar to Batman the Animated Series, this show is for everyone. You could watch the show as a 7-year-old, or you could watch it as a 24-year-old like me and really enjoy the hell out of it. There's something for everyone in these kind of shows. And to me, those are the best kind of movies or TV shows, the one that can appeal to everybody. And it's a testament in how great the writing is because they're able to balance the action factor as well as the writing and the seriousness of it all that adults can appreciate and might fly over kids' heads, but kids will still enjoy it for what it is. Now, in my Batman animated series review, I called it the best animated show I've ever seen, and I really meant it when I said it. So the question is, does Batman Beyond take that throne? Is Batman Beyond now the best animated series of all time? Is it better than Batman? The animated series is probably the more appropriate question. My answer is no. As much as I love this show, I would not put this on par with Batman the Animated Series. In this show, Terry McGinnis has a girlfriend named Dana. Dana's a character who is pretty much in the entire series. She's in all 3 seasons, and if I'm being honest, I thought the writing for that relationship was a little weak. Basically, the relationship is simple. Terry cares about Dana, Dana cares about Terry, but Terry is always letting her down because he's Batman. And she doesn't know that, but in her eyes, he's basically avoiding her and, he doesn't love her. And it's nothing really changes with that relationship. It's pretty consistent throughout the entire series. Like there's nothing that happens that, changes that relationships and puts it into greater heights. It's always consistent. And I was just a little disappointed in that because, when you have something like this happens, right? Like with Peter Parker and Mary Jane, where Mary Jane eventually finds out and it creates all these stakes, it kind of makes for a more riveting watch in that sense. And in this case, the relationship was just kind of flat in that way. And what's baffling to me is that there are other female characters. So there's a character named Max, who is one of the best characters in the entire show. Without spoiling anything, when she meets Terry, she kind of becomes Robin, but not in the way you think. She doesn't wear a costume and fight, but she helps Terry in a lot of ways, and she's such a fascinating character. And there's another character called Ten, who's barely in the show, but even her short time with Terry McGinnis, she has so much better chemistry with him than Dana. And it's not that Dana's a bad character, because she's not, but when you have her written the way she is, it kind of makes her feel like a throwaway character. That's just me, though. I would have rather have seen him date Max eventually, especially since they have so much better chemistry, and they basically were like boyfriend and girlfriend at a point, just without the intimacy. And another thing, and it's not really a flaw. I kind of feel bad for mentioning it, but I feel like I should mention it anyway. The villains in this show. So the villains in this show, I think, are cool. They're really cool. So you have Stalker, Blight. You have there's a couple in mind. I just can't think of them at the moment. Yeah, there's Blight, there's Stalker, there's the Royal Flush Gang, really cool people, and a bunch of others. And you have some villains that come back from the Batman animated series. The villains here are cool. They're memorable. They're suitably appropriate for the show. If you ask me, though, are the villains as good as Batman the animated series? Not by a long shot. The villains in that show are infinitely better. And that's not to say that the Batman Beyond villains are bad, but Batman the Animated Series really set the bar up so high. I mean, Mark Hamill's Joker, I think, destroys any villain in this show. Side note, though, there's a movie, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, where Mark Hamill's Joker is in that film and Terry McGinnis is in it, and it's an awesome film. If you love Batman Beyond and haven't seen that movie, you're doing yourself a disservice. You should watch that show. And watching those characters interact was really cool. But in any case, I still love the show. I think it's really fantastic. I'm so happy I spent a month and a half watching Batman, the animated series, and Batman Beyond. They were really worth my time. I'm going to give this show a 9 out of 10. I'm so happy that HBO Max decided to bring these shows back and bring back a lot of Batman content. It's really, really cool stuff. If you're not watching these shows, I think you're missing out on some great TV. Fascinating and really intriguing throughout. Batman Beyond is a show that should be watched. And that's my review of Batman Beyond. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I have no idea what my next review is going to be. I know the next show I'm going to watch is Cobra Kai. I actually started it today. I'm going to review that when I'm finished with it. In terms of the next movie, I'm not sure. Whatever comes out next week will be the next review that I'll do. So thanks, guys, for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, share this video. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Have a good one. All right.